All right, everyone. Welcome to the first video of the channel. We're gonna do a Warframe playthrough. My goal is to try to get this account to MR30, unlock all the weapons, all the Warframes. It's not going to be like a very detailed series. This is actually 9 hours worth of gameplay that I've kind of broken up in the first 20 minutes of a video. I feel like 20 minutes is a good video for people to actually kind of digest the whole aspect of it. So if you guys want to see longer episodes, let me know. But for the first episode, just kind of talking about which Warframe I picked. I went with Mag. I usually go with Mag. Volt's pretty good. Not a lot of people use Excalibur. On my main, I actually went with Mag as well. So I like her pool. And then, of course, I already have the bow, and you can upgrade the pressure point to just make it the ultimate weapon. We're going to actually go for Sporelacer. Going to kind of talk about how to get that throughout this video as well. We're looking at Rhino. My favorite Warframe is actually Calervo, so we're going to be doing a lot of Calervo mains with the melee. Probably going to use either Broken War or the Azertane. But yeah, look at that. Like when you pull in with Mag, she's a really great early frame for people early on. I understand like Volt, most seasoned players that restart their accounts use Volt because of the speed and the Eidolon hunts, which we'll kind of talk about that in a few episodes down the line. But for just the fun factor, I think Mag's a pretty good champion to use in the early game. We're going to do different like weapon types, talk about things to look forward to, Eidolon hunts. They've actually just updated the game. The old piece just came out, so we'll do that. We'll get some of the cool frames like No-Go and Aurelie and all the other ones that are like throughout the actual game. The goal is to get to MR30, which for people who don't know what that is, it's like your actual level in the game. So most players that have been playing a long time, the game's been out for like 13 or 14 years, are already at either like MR30 or Legend rank 3 or 4. So the first opening scenes, just kind of getting your bearings under you. And then what I recommend is to start with a link that gives you an affinity booster. There's a few of them out there. It basically means that you're going to level up quickly. There was a free Valentine's Day event here, so I got some drip on Mag. Fashion frames is like the end game for Warframe. So my first color palette, which was 1 credit, and you can't beat that. They have some from time to time, like their Pride stuff. They have their Christmas stuff. They have their Halloween stuff. So as we go on throughout the series, I'll kind of showcase that and make sure have people log in to get their credit, because that was 1 credit. And so she's got a little bit of red to her. Now, this is controversial. This is something that I do because I know how the grind is. And like I said, I played this first day for 9.5 hours almost. I like to get a resource booster. If you're brand new, just get the Warframe slot and the weapon slot. But I feel like I have the ability to get a lot of platinum. So I like to have the early resource boost to get like Rhino done early and the Sporelacer. So we go right into fighting Captain Vor. They've actually changed this since the last time I played, which is really cool. Before, I believe he was on a planet with another boss, so you actually had to fight 2 of him. It'll be interesting to see if the Steel Path is the same, because that's usually where you get your arcanes to kind of pick up a little bit of platinum. So if you have any, like if you're an older player, even older than I am, or even if you're new and you have questions, or if you have anything you want to see, like Warframes or weapons or anything, let me know down in the comments and we'll take a look at it. I do have gifting turned off, so I do appreciate it if anyone tries to gift me anything. I want to kind of just do this the old school way and grind out and make sure that everyone can kind of like play along. We go through Captain Vor, which is really cool. The fight scene is a little different, so took me a minute to understand what was going on. And then we hit our mastery rank. Now, this is also something very important that new players need to understand. You get mastery usually 1 day, every day. If you have like multiple weapons and Warframe slots, you need to upgrade. So we got MR1. So we're 1 down and 29 to go. They get harder as you go on because you don't have that many weapons to level up. And MR is what they have behind like weapons locks. So that's something to keep in mind also. We get through the teacher. Like this quest, I really think this was a good way to kind of show how to mod. I still think modding is the most difficult thing in this game. Even I don't understand all the things that you need to do to mod. But as you can see here, I'm always using different weapons or different Warframes. As soon as Mag gets finished, hopefully we'll have Rhino. And then the time Rhino's done, we'll have Calervo. We get our Night Wave. This is like a free battle pass. And we get some mods So this is what I'm talking about, like Warframes and weapon slots, just for those who don't know. You usually start out with, I think, 3 Warframe slots. We're going to go ahead and take Taxon for our companion slot. You can get like Kuvas, or not Kuvas, but Kavats and dogs and like things like that. So, and Sentinels, like Taxon's a Sentinel. I don't know if you actually can. I think you can do something with the Kuvas later on in the game, where if you don't actually kill them, they can be part of your crew, which is kind of cool. So we'll look at that a little later on. But we went ahead and got Taxon, and then we upgraded the vacuum. That's one of the reasons I like the Sentinels, because they already come with vacuum to help you get the loot better. So then we go into our first Spectrum, and we take on Volt. Most players actually use Volt in the beginning, so he's good speed, really good Eidolon Hunter, especially if you get the Prime version. And we'll kind of talk about that with the Primes too sometime in the next episode. And then we come into Fortuna, Deimos and Fortuna, where you're going to spend the most. If you do the Sporelacer route, you're going to spend your first 10 hours here between Fortuna and Deimos. I really like Deimos. Fortuna can get a little bit grindy, especially if you do Profit Taker. I think I'm going to show you how to do it once, but because 1999 came out, Profit Taker, in my opinion, is a little bit weaker for credits. And then of course they have the arena or whatever it's called for the credits, and that's a grind too. So I think we're going to go and do the 1999 route to get credits. The Jackal is the boss you'll fight for Rhino. So it took me like 2 hours to get the systems. It was super annoying, but I wanted to kind of show this boss off as well. It's very not a difficult boss, because I'm going to show you what I usually do. Just hop on the wall. Some people like to walk around if you're skilled enough to do that. Like sometimes I'll do it, but it depends on also what kind of Warframe you have. Some Warframes can actually block out that spinning ring there, but I just hop on the wall. And usually I do it by myself, but for this guy, I kind of wanted to show what it looked like as like team members. So finally, after about 2 hours to get the systems will usually be the last thing that drops for you. The chassis and then their optics. We got all 3 of those. So we got a Rhino going. We'll have him in the next video. I actually got some parts for Wukong, because I want to do a Wukong guide as well. I feel like Wukong, he is actually the most played Warframe in 2025 last year. So we'll go ahead and look at him. Now, this is something also very important. Before you go to Deimos, I think you should get the Arch Launcher, because it's going to help you get the resources much quicker. Not only in Deimos, but on Fortuna when you're doing your hunts for credits and ranks ups and stuff like that. So this, in my opinion, is where people mess up, because they'll go to Deimos and then they'll come back and try to do this mission, and then they have to walk around to get their crates open, which can be a pain. Between getting the Arch Launcher and the double credits here, these little containers, you can see them from the sky. And then there's a mod. I didn't have it. There's actually a mod that if you upgrade it, actually shows you all the containers and the map. So what you're looking for is those Sporelac sacks and the mutagen mass, and then the benign tumors as well. I don't remember if these crates actually drop the benign tumors. I think you have to fish for that. But in Deimos, they actually give you a fishing spear. Just make sure you fish up the extra fish that you're going to need. Then you come in here. This is where I didn't actually know they've changed this. They used to be worth 100. Now they're worth 500. So you only need 3 of these, not 10 or 15. So I was like trying to get them all because I thought I didn't have enough, and it turns out they've actually changed that. So I don't know when they changed that, but that is definitely a good change. You're going to need 1,500 here on Deimos, and I think about 3,000 to 3,500 on Fortuna to get all your equipment and all the gear you're going to need to actually complete the Sporelacer. So we go to Father, and then we go over to Ortak and Grandmother, and I'm like just trading them all in. I had more than enough, which is good because we're actually going to need the helmet from here as well. So, and that's unlocked at level 3. So always make sure you're doing your Deimos bounties to get the mother tokens. And if you can, get like father tokens and daughter tokens. So we go back to Father once we have enough. And what we're going to look for here is actually the Sporelacer. It's worth 500. I don't think efficiently this is the best kit gun you can build, but I didn't want to waste a lot of time to actually get the other part. I use Sporelacer, Deep Seek or Deep Breath, and then Haymaker. So you get the other 2 from here in Fortuna. I just did a bounty to get through to get the first little bit of credits you need to level up to actually get the hunting rifle. Once you get the rifle, then like the credits here are super easy to get because of the fact that you can actually do a lot of good hunting with the trank rifle. The birds are worth like 800 to 1,000, and then some of the other animals you can actually buy, like the traps and stuff, to actually get to unlock Profit Taker, because this used to be, at least back in the day, the best way to kind of like get credits until like 1999. People would come in here instead of doing the other like arena time, they would come and do Profit Taker. So but what you're looking for is, I usually highlight my allies so they're easier to find. So because if not, you're going to be searching here all day, and then you just tag them. And they, like I said, you'll see here, this one gave away 800. So it's super easy once you get the trank rifle. And you also get tags, which you can trade for mods to get platinum. But we'll talk about that in the next episode. We get ourselves a rifle and a fishing spear. They do give you one on Deimos, but it's not yours. You just kind of rent it out and then they take it away. So my advice is to buy the rifle, the drill, and the fishing spear all right here on Fortuna. You're also going to need the Travite and some of the other things. Also, make sure you equip your gear, your fishing lure, your rifle, and your mine, because I know some people go out and then they don't have it. You're looking for these red rocks here. The red rocks will give you the Travite, and the blue will give you the Goblite. You only need a little bit of Goblite. You actually need 60 of the Travite. And of course, you're going to get attacked because I don't know what it is with this game, but when you go to hunt, fish, or mine, then the enemies just like attack you crazy. If you don't, then they don't. It'll take a few tries, but that's what you're looking for. The Travite there looks like clams. You need 60 of them. So it took me, I think, 3 runs to kind of get enough. And then you come here on this rock and you're looking for scrubbers. And you're also looking for the casters, the recasters, and the other fishing exploit. It does take a little bit of time, but in my opinion, it's well worth the time to come in here early game. You're leveling up stuff. You're also understanding how fishing works, how mining works, how the trank rifle works and stuff like that. So here's where you're going to come to get your recasters. Now, I believe they only come in the cold season, and there's a way to check that. On PC, and if you're playing like on Xbox or PlayStation, there's a way to actually check the temperature down in the corner. You're looking for the cold for the recasters, and I'll kind of show you what they look like. Fishing can be really annoying in this game, especially if there are enemies around, because if you get hit, then it stops what you're looking for. So just be careful of that. And here we are breaking down all the fish. This is what you're going to have to break down to get the parts. You need a lot of scrap. So if you're fishing and you see other fish, just grab them, because you're going to need the scrap anyway. And you'll need the scrap later on for other weapons if you want to build them. So I just collected a bunch of them, and then we got what we needed. We went ahead and leveled up. We got rank 1 already on Fortuna. It's our first level up. And then immediately I go for the gob tiers, the goblites or whatever, the blue ones here. This actually saves you 2,000 credits. So I went ahead and redeemed that. And we should be pretty much good to go. We come back in, you're going to get this one for 1,000 right next to it. So you get the free one for the rank up, and then you come back and get the Travizite. And then it's pretty much simple as that. Then you go back over here to your Kitgun guy, and this is where you buy the other 2 parts, the Deep Breath and the Haymaker. I think Splat is better, but Splat takes a little bit longer to get. As you can see, you'd have to be here for a long time, and you actually wouldn't even get it in one day. So at least with Haymaker and Deep Breath, you actually can build it in one day, and literally like 10 hours you can get your Sporelacer. And all it is just resource grind. You come in and make sure you have your Goblite and your Travicite and everything else that you're going to need, and then there it is. You pretty much are done. You want to make sure that you have everything. Like I said, you need 60 of the Travicite and not that much of the Goblite. You only need like 10. And it's pretty simple, and it's actually not an MR lock gun. So, there's people that always ask, like, what's the best gun early on? In my opinion, the gun I always use is the Sporelacer. And then in the next episode, we'll kind of look at Calervo. You get the best of both worlds, in my opinion, with the Calervo melee and then the Sporelacer secondary. We get our potato here from Nora. I also bought 19 for Wukong. And then we get into our sculptures, so we can actually upgrade some of our mods. I actually got lucky and found this one when I was doing some of the things on Mars. Mars is a good place to look for sculptures. I have no idea why. I usually find 1 or 2 in the beginning of the game. I don't know if it's RNG or if it's just because they stand out. So I got the one from Mars, and then I actually went in to Maru's Bazaar to get the free one. So I really got two. And then, yeah, finished it up. Got the run. Now, these can be pretty difficult for a new player if you're not familiar with how the runs work. Some of them can be very difficult if you don't know where to look. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do it. I would recommend you actually go by yourself a few times just to kind of understand the patterns. And we'll kind of talk about this in the next episode when we get to like corrupted vaults as well, or corrupted mods. Because everything in this game is kind of patternized. Once you understand the pattern, then you pretty much got everything unlocked, like the sculptures, because you do this once a week. So this will be a weekly thing. I'll kind of like show you what my weekly guide is on like how to do the shards when we get there, the Archon shards and stuff like that, and arbitrations and things like that. So a lot to look forward in this game. It's one of the reasons I really like it. There's so much to do, especially when you get to the end game. The best thing to do is just kind of start over, as crazy as that sounds, because the new game's always got cool stuff to learn and do. But you'll set the trap. And then even with mag, if you have like Titania, this is a breeze because you can fly. But you just kind of hop over the lasers, don't let the lasers hit you, and then it's pretty much, even I can do it. Sometimes it's like you get lost, so you have to come up here to the very top and then kind of sneak by. And then there's a button up at the top here. You have to actually hit the button. And I kind of missed, and then I was like panicking to try to hurry up and make sure I hit it. So you have to hit that button, and then the doors open, and you have to get there before the door closes. As you can see, there's scannables as well, and these vases. Make sure you hit the vases as well, because you want the credits, and sometimes they actually give out really good mods in here. And we'll kind of talk about the different mods in the games in another episode. I didn't want to kind of overwhelm people with like mods and everything, so modding will probably be its own video. But we come in, we clean up all the vases, get all the credits, all the mods, and then right there is like a scannable. You can actually, I believe they unlock like soundtracks in your ship. I don't even know if I've actually completed one myself, so it'll be new to me. But let me know down in the comments. I'm sure somebody has done this. So we get that, and then we just kind of, we're ready to roll. Got what we needed, got 2 sculptures in one day, which is really good, especially for early game endo. And we went ahead and filled it in. You need the stars. You need like blue and the gold ones. The blue ones are more easier to be found. The gold ones, they actually give you one in the missions, but the other couple I found just was lucky. So we're going to go ahead and trade it in. We'll get our endo, and I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. So we got Sporelacer, we got Rhino working, we're getting close to Wukong, and then in the next couple episodes, we'll do Kalervo and some of the other cool things. So let me know down below if you like this, if you want like longer videos, and let me know. Do you guys love Warframe? Do you like the grind? And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching.